Welcome to my channel. This is Yeezy Story, and today we're going to talk about the 30 most influential Yeezys of all time. Let's go. So like most sneaker lovers out there, I remember the first time that I saw the Yeezys. I was in high school, and it was 2006 when Kanye West debuted the Nike Air Yeezy 1. Back then, it was really uncommon for rappers to have their own signature shoe. It was usually just athletes, and even more so if they had their own shoe with an Adidas. So when Kanye came out with his own signature shoe with Nike, everyone was shocked. The Air Yeezy 1 was inspired by the Nike Air 1, and it had an all-leather upper with a big tongue and midsole. The shoe was mostly black with some red accents, but it also came in a white colorway too. Although it wasn't a huge hit at first, as soon as people started seeing celebrities like LeBron James and other NBA players wearing them, that's when they started to blow up. And of course, when Kanye performed at the Grammys wearing the unreleased red and gold colorway, that pretty much solidified their status as a must-have. In the beginning, these shoes only cost around $150, but now, 15 years later, the average resale price for this shoe is over $1,000. Next up, we got the second installment in the Nike Air Yeezy line, the Air Yeezy 2. For this design, Kanye took inspiration from one of his favorite sneakers of all time, the Nike Air Tech Challenge. This shoe was way more vibrant than the previous model. They had bright colorways like the Solar Red and the Galaxy Purple. And these shoes were definitely not for everyone, but they were definitely a conversation starter. Once again, Kanye made history with these shoes because they were the first signature basketball shoes made by a rapper. The Air Yeezy 2 was released on June 9, 2012, and they sold out in under 30 minutes. Unlike the original Air Yeezy, though, this shoe was not meant to be a lifestyle shoe or a casual shoe. These were performance basketball shoes, and they were actually worn during games by NBA players like LeBron James and Dwyane Wade. The next year, in 2013, Nike filed a trademark lawsuit against Kanye for breach of contract. According to reports, they sued him for $14.7 million. In court, it was revealed that Nike gave Kanye $18 million over the 3-year span of the deal, and that he only delivered 2 months of work. So he basically just sat around and did nothing for 2 years, and still wanted his full $18 million. Eventually, they were able to come to an agreement, and Kanye was able to keep his millions. And although there was a lot of speculation about where he would go next, he eventually signed with Adidas, and the rest is history. Now let's move on to the Adidas Yeezys. The first shoe that Kanye released with Adidas was the Adidas Yeezy Boost 750. The name of this shoe actually consists of 3 separate names: the Adidas name, the Yeezy name, and the Boost 750. At the time, the Boost technology was relatively new, and it was only used in a few different models. And although it didn't have the same reputation that it has today, it was still seen as a premium feature. Although the Boost 750 looked more like a boot, it was actually categorized as a high-top basketball shoe. It was super bulky and heavy, but it was also super comfortable. These were some of the first Yeezys to utilize the prime knit upper, which allowed for better flexibility and support. The Adidas Yeezy Boost 750 came in several different colorways, but the most popular one was the chocolate colorway. These are still one of the hottest colorways to this day, and in 2021, they resold for as much as $3,500. Following up the 750s was the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350. The Yeezy Boost 350 was a low-cut version of the 750. It was extremely minimal, but it was also very comfortable. And this is probably what made the shoe so special. For many years, Kanye was known for wearing these shoes with dress pants and a dress shirt. And back then, wearing sneakers with dress clothes was really frowned upon. But Kanye kind of changed that. He showed everyone that sneakers can actually go with a nicer outfit, and it doesn't look out of place. This shoe came in several different colorways, but the most popular one was the Turtle Dove. The Turtle Doves were released in 2015, and they were a huge success. People lined up outside of Adidas stores for hours just to buy these. And they were never disappointed because they always sold out. In fact, they were so hot that scalpers were selling them for over $1,000. A month after the Turtle Doves dropped, Adidas decided to release another colorway called the Oxford Tan. These were a little bit easier to get, but they were still pretty hard to get. However, both the Turtle Dove and the Oxford Tan are considered OG colorways because they have the old Adidas logo. Now, Adidas doesn't make those anymore. Instead, they used the new Adidas logo. In 2016, Kanye released 2 different iterations of the Adidas Yeezy Boost 350 V2. One of them was the Beluga and the other was the Zebra. The Belugas had a unique translucent stripe on the side, which allowed you to see the Boost technology on the inside. And the Zebras had an all-white prime-knit upper with a black stripe, which made it look like a zebra, hence the name. Both of these colorways were super hyped, but the Zebras were definitely the more popular shoe. It didn't take long for scalpers to start selling these for $1,000 on eBay. Adidas did everything that they could to stop the bots and scalpers, but they were unsuccessful. At one point, they even started to gatekeep the shoes. Gatekeeping means that you only sell the shoes to people who have already bought Adidas shoes within the last 6 months. So if you hadn't bought anything from Adidas in the last 6 months, you wouldn't be able to buy the shoes. Obviously, this wasn't a perfect solution, but it helped. After the Beluga and the Zebra was the Cream White, which was originally supposed to be a friends and family colorway, but Adidas ended up releasing it to the public anyway. The Cream Whites were a little bit more subdued compared to the Belugas and the Zebras. The uppers were made of a cream-colored prime knit and the stripes were made of suede. On the heel, you had the old Adidas logo, and just like the other Yeezys, it didn't take long for these to sell out. The next colorway was the Core Black, which was the first time we saw a predominantly black Yeezy. The Core Black colorway was very similar to the Cream White, but the upper was made entirely out of black prime knit. And although these were really hard to get at retail, they were easy to find on eBay because a lot of people weren't really feeling the black pair and they were returning them left and right. So, if you didn't mind buying a used shoe, you could easily pick these up for around $400. And lastly, we got the easiest Yeezys to get, the Citron. Out of all the colorways, these were definitely the least hyped, but they were still a good pickup nonetheless. And since they weren't as hyped, they were one of the easiest pairs to get for retail. You could literally log on to Adidas' website and buy these without having to worry about getting botted. They were just that unhyped. That's all I got for this episode. Make sure to stay tuned for more episodes of Yeezy Story. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.